What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Behind the Cork. I'm your host, Eric Rocha. How you doing? A very, very special happy Halloween to you. I hope you guys are fucking in your sluttiest costumes, doing all the right, well, in this case, doing all the wrong things. And, I hope you're having fun. Hell, why not? So, my guest today is Bruno Mastrodicasa. You can check him out. His Instagram, it's Bruno Mastro. Look, it's not a perfect Instagram thing, and he told me to tell you guys, he says at the end of the episode too, if you guys can come up with a better social media name for him, he's all ears. But let me give it to you anyways. ITSBrunomastro. It's Bruno Mastro. It's not ridiculously hard, but anyways, he's my guest today. And, I saw this guy fight. I saw him struggle. I saw him kick ass. And nice thing is he's moving to New York. So I was able to get him on the podcast right before he is leaving, which I believe is in a week. So I was really happy to get this interview. So before I get to that, though, one thing I did want to say, Halloween. I fucking love Halloween. I'm so happy my birthday is the 20th because just to be associated in the same month as Halloween, I fucking love it so much. I've been enjoying horror movies so much on, not only on TV, but I haven't been able to go see some in movies. That's always my favorite thing, is to go watch a really good horror movie in theater, but oh well. I've seen plenty, and I'll just probably go watch the same old ones I always watch again. I don't know. It's funny because, these movies get older and older, and I don't know why, but I fucking love them so much. Just even like the brand new It's. I don't know about Dr. Sleep. I'm excited to go see that. Just a lot of fun fucking movies. I love horror movies. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Like when I watch like horror movies, I remember the old days when I was a kid in the 90s, and I know that seems like forever ago to some of you. It doesn't seem that fucking long to me. And what I remember is my mother would be asleep because she'd have to work the next day, and you would stay up late, and on TNT you would watch...
Welcome to the first annual Joe Bob Briggs Dusk to Dawn Friday the 13th Marathon.
And it was so much fucking fun. Mind you, they cut the shit out of these movies, but I was such a little pussy growing up that the movies I wanted to watch, they had them. They would show them, especially around Halloween. And like I said, they were edited to fuck, but it really did kind of keep you up to date on what horror films had to show you. Like, I remember if it weren't for television, I wouldn't have watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all this other shit. The Exorcist. I mean, that was huge. Nightmare on Elm Street. It's funny because television, whether you like it or not, it informed a lot of who I am. And I know that's not necessarily a good thing, but I was a latchkey kid, and the fun of it was you would get snacks and whatever, have your friends over. A lot of times, since I was an only child, you would get so into the story. One, because you were a little kid, but two, like, I remember watching Halloween 2 on Monster Vision and just being fucking terrified. It was just so great. And I don't know, now it's so much of you pick what you want to watch. And I came from a time where you didn't necessarily pick what you wanted to watch. Whatever was on TV was what you fucking had. That was it. But it was great because it made you get out of your comfort zone with what you were going to watch. Because I already talked about Monster Vision, but like I guess the craziest thing I ever got away with, I think, I talked my catechism class, and this was our priest too, mind you. He was the guy that taught the fucking thing. I remember I asked him, I was like, we're Catholic, right? And he's like, of course we are. And I was like, we believe in exorcism, don't we? Like, they're Catholic priests that do it in the movie. And he's like, what's your point, Eric? And I said, could we watch The Exorcist with you? Like, just in case we have questions. And he fucking said yes. So we all got together and we all went to the priest's house. And it was so informative. Like, we would pause it and we'd be like, is that what really happens? And he's like, guys, I don't fucking do exorcisms. We're like, but what is like, what would happen? And he told us, he was like, well, listen, this is a film, and so they're doing a lot of special effects stuff. And we're like, yeah, and he's like, okay, so theoretically, if there was a demon inside of this person, and I was like we believe in our religion, and he's like, yes, Eric, thank you. If somebody is possessed by something, you have to take into consideration, if it is a demon, it's going to be very old, and it was probably there when Christ was killed, allegedly. And I just remember being so fascinated by that shit. We were like, so if something possessed us, there's a chance that, like, it saw Jesus when it was getting the shit kicked out of him, when he was. And our father was like, yeah, maybe. I mean, he would have been around. Priests, like the good ones, they could always field your questions. Like, and that's what was so much fun about being a kid, and you know, for me, being raised Catholic, was you really got into this shit. You know, and my faith isn't, you know, it's practically non-existent now, but back then, like, this shit used to scare the fuck out of me. And I loved it. My favorite thing, and I'll leave with this. My favorite thing was when Max von Sydow, who plays Father Marin, and look, I'm sure all of you have seen The Exorcist and all this other shit, but look up Monster Vision just so you have an idea of what it is. But anyways, The Exorcist, probably my top 3 of all time horror films. It's so fucking good. Like, it doesn't scare me. When I was a kid, it probably did, but now I watch it for the acting, because these guys are such good fucking actors. Max von Sydow, holy shit. He is so fucking good. He sells it. Not to mention what Linda Blair did. Like, it was so lasting, her performance, that it almost fucked her. Well, it did. I don't remember her in anything other than you know, horror movies. But it was so good that's what people always associated with her. Like, even Brando was known for fucking being the Godfather. It was that good of a fucking performance. Anyways, there's this hilarious scene where Max von Sydow gets really pissed off, and he tells the demon to leave, and the demon is so funny. It like starts heckling him.
I cast you out, unclean spirit,
Show it up your ass.
in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. It is he who commands you. He who flung you, prince of heaven, to the depths of hell.
Fuck him.
Be gone
Fuck him, Garrus.
from
Fuck
this
him.
creature of God.
And it is just so clearly contrarian to anything he says. Like, he could be like, white, and she'd be like, black. Faith, no faith. Funny, you're not funny. Whatever the fuck it is, she's just taunting him like, yeah, then what? It's so disturbing to pick on a fucking priest like that. Like, I picked on my priest, but fuck, never anything like that. It's just so good. I don't know, man. I fucking love these horror movies. Big thing too, because I don't, you know, I don't know if today people would be as into them. Like, if you listen to like the plot of some of these horror films, they're pretty fucking gruesome. Like, I showed a friend, I think, who was it? I think I was showing the Verzi triplets. I was showing them a couple of Nightmare on Elm Streets thing. And the thing of it is Freddy would kill you in whatever you were afraid of. Much like it, but it was more of a bully-esque type way. Like, I think, what is it, part 4 or part 5? A girl has like an eating disorder, and he feeds her to death, and she chokes. Another kid in Freddy's Dead, he's got a hearing aid, and Freddy gives him another hearing aid and makes his head explode. People would throw a shit fit if you showed any type of kid getting murdered. It just, well, I guess it too, I don't know, maybe they wouldn't. But I'll tell you this much, the clown doesn't fucking mock quite like Freddy did. Just a bunch of drunk, horny kids wanting to fuck. And then Freddy Krueger comes and just messes all that shit up. Or Jason. Or Michael Myers. I just love horror movies, so I hope you're checking some out. And regardless, I hope you guys have a fun Halloween. It should be awesome, because it's an awesome holiday if you get into it. I obviously do. But without further ado, here's Bruno Mastrodicasa.
I don't know no better, so let's blame the weather, 'cause I got no care when I hit my groove, 'cause I got no care when I hit my groove. Well, my music's rolling, I'm moving to that kick and swing.
No, that's, I don't know. I go back and forth, to be honest, between probably Springsteen and the Stones.
Nice.
Live, it was probably Springsteen. It was weird. It was weird because he almost played, and it's trite by now, but he played for like almost 4 hours. It was in Jersey.
Yeah, that's... Oh, you got to see him in Jersey, too.
Yeah.
That's a unique experience.
Oh, yeah. It was at the Meadowlands before they tore down the stadium. But it was one of those things where it was so strange because I was living in New York, and I had rehearsal because I was in a play. And I had gotten permission to leave rehearsal early because I had to catch the bus to go to Jersey. And so when I was on that bus, it was all Springsteen fans. And they had music just blaring. It was Springsteen. Even the bus driver was wearing a Springsteen shirt. And it was so funny because there we all are going to the Meadowlands, and I had $30 total. So I had to choose. I was like, am I going to fucking eat, or should I get like a hat? Like, what am I going to fucking do? And I was like, all right, fuck it. And so this guy was like, well, what, how many shows, what nights are you going? And I didn't know that he wrote a different set list every night. So I was like, oh, I just got tickets for the one show. And they're like, oh, dude, you fucked up. You got to get multiple shows. Like, what song do you want to hear? And I was like, I'm a big fan of 10th Avenue Freeze Out.
Yo,
so like,
that's my favorite Springsteen song.
Fuck
that song's
yeah.
great.
So, anyways, they were like, well, we're meeting up with a friend after this. You got to hang out. So we get off the bus, and they've got like a barbecue there. Like they tailgate like it's a fucking football game.
That's awesome.
And I didn't have to worry about dinner because those guys fed me like a fucking king. Like big fat cocksuckers just giving me burgers, and like I was like bratwurst, and I was like, oh my God, jamming out to Springsteen. And they got me fucked up, and they fed me. And then the doors open, and they were like, hey, little dude, have fun. I was like, thank you guys so much. You guys are fucking great. And then, I ran in and I bought a hat, and, it was so funny. I had enough money for a hat and a beer. And so I was already fucked up.
That's all you need, though. That's it. Hell yeah.
It was amazing. And when they took the stage, dude, it was just like, holy shit, these guys, you could see that they put so much into it. And it was just like, and Jersey fucking loved it. Like, at least the people there, it was like, holy fuck, like, this is like a religion. It's like a cult.
And did you play 10th Avenue Freeze Out?
They opened with it.
Oof. With Clarence?
Like, holy shit. Yeah, it was back when they had Clarence with them.
Oh, dude, that's what's up.
So, yeah, it was fucking great. But, I don't know. So that's why I go back and forth. Because the Stones, fuck, dude, they put it all on the line, too. Because it was just like, I remember seeing Mick Jagger just play with an audience, and it was like, you know, this was years ago. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when I first saw them, it was on top of Juilliard. Because I was living in New York, and they had opened up their 40 Licks tour in New York, and they played on top of Juilliard.
That's crazy.
So we all just came, and, you know, everybody in New York City gathered for that free little concert that they did. Mm-hmm. And it was so cool, because I'd always wanted to see them. But I grew up on that shit, though. But regardless, my guest today is the one and only Bruno Mastrodicasa.
What up?
So Bruno, it was nice enough. All my fucking guests are great, but right now Bruno's vying for number one because he brought the dragon a gift of non-alcoholic beer. So cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers. These Heineken ones are really good.
I like them.
I like them.
I really like them too. So I met you at Fourth Wall. I believe, I don't even remember when it was.
I think it was like last June or July, around that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where the fuck were you?
Before that?
Yeah.
I was out here for 2 years before that, but I was doing improv pretty heavily. I was at the UCB Theater and doing stuff over at Groundlings and trying out acting classes. Because as I had told you, I had started doing stand-up when I was like 16. So I was like trying a bunch of different stuff and seeing what else I kind of like. And as it turns out, not much else is as fun as doing stand-up.
All right. Yeah, it was interesting because you started coming around, and I guess the more and more I watched you, I was like, okay, all right. The reason I had you on is because I was watching you, and I'm like, okay, you know. And at first, it wasn't that you were bad. It's just like, okay, you know, okay, Bruno's gonna go up. Okay, Bruno's gonna go up. And somewhere, I don't know if it was 6 months ago or when the fuck it was, but you found something. You found something, because I remember I had to follow you. And I don't mean to be shitty to you at all, but
no, I'll
be really honest. I was never worried about following you. and
no, I understand that. I knew what I was doing in that period of time.
Yeah,
no one should be afraid to follow.
Okay. And then the thing of it was it was like you did this thing, and in my head I went, fuck, I gotta follow that. And it made me really fucking happy.
Oh, thanks,
man.
And
it was like, you know, because I don't want to say it wasn't like a condescending thing where like I thought I was better, but it was one of those things where it was like, this dude fucking found some heat. Like it made me better.
Oh, hell
and
yeah,
I was like, son of a bitch. Whatever that guy's drinking, I gotta get me some of that. It was that fucking intense.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. And you've told me that before, and it always means a lot coming from you because I think I may have told you this. I fucking heard you on the Joey Diaz podcast, and I was like, oh, man, all right, maybe I should check out the Fourth Wall, because I had dipped my toes in the water of the open mics, so I was like, where's, like, a good open mic to, like, go to, and, like, I was kind of very nervous. I was being such a bitch about it, and then Joey Diaz was saying how awesome the Fourth Wall was, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll try that spot out, because I'd seen there were so many available options to just go and sign up, and I was like, all right, that'll work out perfectly. And then I went the first night and met Travis, and I was actually super intimidated by Travis the first time I had met him. And I didn't know to sign up, and he was like, yeah, we're full in the mayor. We can throw you in the tent. So I did like 5 minutes in the tent in front of like 3 people. And I was like, oh, this place is crazy. All right.
Wow, so you did your first was the tent.
Oh yeah,
Oh fuck, you poor bastard.
I love the tent.
No wonder you're tough.
I love it. I love that. Anything that makes it harder, I'm about.
Oh yeah, you fucking hear that goddamn freeway right next to it. Just
I love it. The shit.
Yeah. So then, well, thank you, dude. But that night was so, and I don't know what the fuck it was, because I think I pulled you aside after one of those sets, and I was like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then I think my response was, I just bombed so hard.
You bottomed out.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just like you just get fucked out. I just got tired.
What do you think it was?
Just literally exhaustion. It's like I feel like I don't know who said this, but there's this quote I really like about art in general, which is like, as a new artist or anything new that you're doing, it's very frustrating because you feel like your taste is very good and you want to create the shit that your taste is at, but you're so incapable of doing that because your skill set isn't developed yet. You're not good. And I think something happened where I was just bombing so hard, and like something like one bomb was just so embarrassing, and it was just like, I think something snapped where I was like, I think I'm just doing this because I'm caring way too much what they're thinking, and it's like limiting my freedom on stage of artistic expression and just being Bruno Mastrodicasa as a whole. I was like, it's actually funny. I'm a huge Kanye West fan, and he said this in an interview, and it's like this though, where he was just like, you can only do so much for everybody, and I just stopped. It's like, you can only do so much to make people happy before it's like, I just have to make me happy because I do it for me.
It definitely felt like that, because that night, if I recall, you were like, like, when I think of you, I think of this phrase, you want to fucking go? And it made me laugh because it was like, I was like, fuck, this little motherfucker's throwing some heat, and I kind of like it. Like, it was, I was rooting for you.
Oh, thanks,
and it
man.
was like Bruno against the world, and I was like, oh fuck it, I'm betting on Bruno. Like, he's wily. Like, why the fuck not?
Yeah, you gotta spaz out a little bit sometimes.
And it was such an engaged open mic, because you go to open mics to test out your jokes, and I think sometimes we can get lulled to sleep by just the constant, like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this, and then that. Okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do that. But I know a lot of people won't call an open mic a show, and the thing of it is, though, is you want to hit them.
Yeah.
And it was funny because at that open mic, you fucking right between the eyes, all of us. and it was so embarrassing for me because I was like, fuck, I gotta follow that. And I was like, all right, well, fuck it then. He's already taken the gloves off, so it was really liberating, and it was like, son of a bitch, like, yeah. Hey guys, we found a fucking hole in. Like, Bruno Bruno kicked the door open. The party's in here. But it was it was so present. And I don't know. It's funny because I don't have the school of thought whether somebody's a first year in or whether they're fucking 30 years in. You really can learn something by watching everybody. Not that I like watching everybody by any fucking stretch of the imagination.
100%. But it is one of those things of like, when you work like a really shitty job, or like, let's say you do want to get into working a restaurant, right? And or maybe you want to be a restaurateur and you've worked at a real shitty restaurant. It's like you learn the most from those things because you're like, oh, they're doing all this shit wrong with customer service. And it's like, it's so easy. How are you not just doing X, Y, and Z? And it's like sometimes when you watch someone do like real bad, you're like, okay, as long as I don't do these things, then I'm a step up, and then we can work from there.
And yeah, it's a fear too, I think, that it's complacency too, where it's like, okay, are you satisfied with just doing good enough? Because what also woke up when you exploded like that in me, I remember thinking, it was like, yeah, are you giving these people an experience? And it's just like, look, open mic or not, fuck you. nobody wants to see somebody do shitty.
No.
And whether it's a shitty joke, doesn't matter. Like, this isn't a fucking poetry reading. You come to an open mic because you want to try out your joke, but it's, if you're really gonna work on a joke, you gotta be behind it.
Yeah, you gotta want to sell it appropriately.
Exactly.
And if you're there too, especially if you're a comic, and I mean, I'm sure we're all guilty of this, of doing this, but you should want to laugh, and you should want to, I don't know if learn is the right word, but like you should want to be present in that room a little bit and be like, okay, this is the thing I really, really like to do. If like I love to do this, I like to be surrounded by it a lot. So why not listen to the other jokes? Because even if a comic is bad, like there's one comic that, I won't say a name or anything, but like we both would agree, like not the best. But there's some jokes he has that are so good, it's just like, oh, god damn.
I've had Luke Allen on the podcast.
Word. Never mind. Okay. So I can just...
Fuck you, Luke.
I can just start letting it rip then. But yeah, it is weird seeing shit like that.
It's eye-opening, but I think one thing that I loved, and I'll be real honest with this, Robert Vertree said it, and I've quoted it before, but to me, you were a part of that 10 o'clock crowd. And anybody that's gone there a few times knows that in North Hollywood at the Fourth Wall, that 10 o'clock mic is a little different than all the other mics.
It's a little bit different.
And it's because anything can fucking happen. Robert Vertrees aptly said, "This it's the mic that punches back."
That's a great way to put it. You're not safe.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. Like, Chris D'Elia was saying this. Like, when people get offended in an audience, it's like, oh, this wasn't safe for you. But as the comic, the stage is your safe place to say the fucked up things. And while the Fourth Wall is our safe place, it's also the other comic's safe place in the audience to be like, that was bad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the thing of it is you're not openly there to heckle people. And like I've left going often to the Fourth Wall, 10 o'clock at North Hollywood, because it has gotten to be a little bit too fraternity-esque. Like sometimes it's a little too safe there for certain people, and I think they need to get the fuck away from that. Yeah. So I'll try to hit different spots, but every 100%. Once in a while you'll catch those mics where it's like, oh fuck, okay, you get like a Vertrees, a Cooney, and
you're gonna have to try.
Exactly.
Because the dudes coming up before you are gonna be making people laugh. They're funny. You can't just go up there with nothing. Like you can't. And I forget who was saying it. Hank was saying that there's a large part of like LA open mics that he's seen that you don't really see in a lot of other places, where comics will get up there and be like, so what do I want to talk about tonight? And it's just like, man, like you only have 5 minutes or 3 minutes. There should be some jokes. Let's hear some shit.
Fucking hit me with something.
Something.
People want you to.
Yeah, like we
like,
want to be entertained,
you don't
man.
Fucking. But the one thing that, like I said, with you, and especially that 10 o'clock, because I feel like that 10 o'clock for a time, I don't think it's the same way that it was when we first started. My intention was this, especially with that 10 o'clock. When I was hosting, I wanted my night to be brutal. I wanted it to be grueling. If you weren't funny, it's not that people could pick on you. It's just that nobody didn't laugh.
But that's all love.
Exactly.
And I appreciate that too. Like that, the worst thing I think for a human being, besides just like abusing your body with like awful stuff, is getting stuck in having to do that corporate laugh, where it's like your boss says a joke that's awful, but you have to be like, oh man, wow, that was a good one. Yeah, that is the worst.
Crushes your fucking soul.
It's bad for everybody.
And the thing about it too was not only that, and it, I will be dead honest, I took it from Opie and Anthony, was if you got fucking greedy, or if you got a little too predictable with your jokes, whatever the fuck it was, those guys would let you have it right between your fucking eyes.
Oh yeah.
And I mean that spawned that, because that's the place where Patrice showed the world what he was, by picking on people like Bill Burr, by picking on people like, and what else did Bill do? I mean, they talk about the table at the Comedy Cellar.
Oh yeah.
And how that space was sacred.
Yeah, very, very sacred spot.
Yeah, and if you could, and you would sit at that table, and you would just take a barrage of whatever the fuck you were. God forbid if you wore a hat that just was brand new. You were trying to whatever. You would hear stories of those guys just trashing each other, and then you get.
Oh, I love it though. That's all love. I love that shit.
And that's the thing of it though, is it was just. It was brutal, but then when you go on stage, you understand that it's like, oh, okay. If you're gonna fucking do stand up, do it. Like give somebody an experience, and it's not just with comedy. Like I said, we were watching a little bit of the Rolling Stones.
Oh yeah,
those guys. There was a time where they'd kick you in the fucking mouth with how good they were, and it was just like, holy shit, Elvis, Kanye West, even I've heard is fucking.
Yeah, no, I've had the pleasure of seeing him live perform once, and it was fucking incredible. I love music. I like musicians. I think are like music is. I think above comedy as far as like how it makes my soul feel. If that makes sense. Like I love stand up, but you can only listen to a bit so much. I'm that weirdo that like will listen to one song on repeat until I'm like exhausted with it, and then it's like I have to find the next song to just like keep listening to. Like I love music. I think you might like this story. I don't know if you know this band, the Growlers, but I went to go see them play in the House of Blues like 2 years ago, and none of my friends really liked them too much, but I was like, come on, you guys want to go to the concert with me? And they're like, nah, like you're the only one that really likes them, we don't want to go with you. So I was like, all right. And one of my buddies was like, dude, just go by yourself. Concerts by yourself can be fucking sick. I was like, really? He was like, yeah, just do it. I was like, all right, fine. So I buy a ticket and I like haul all the way down to Orange County. I'm like waiting to go see them perform. And the house lights go down, and they come out, and they perform for 4.5 hours and just fucking go nuts. Like, they're telling us to put out our joints, and their whole band is like, throw your joints up here. And they're all smoking on stage. They're, like, jumping onto the railings and, like, dancing with fans on the upper deck. I was like, holy, like, they gave us an experience. Like, you left there being like, damn, like, they really cared about entertaining us tonight. And that's what it should be about when you're in there with an audience.
And it's weird because it sounds I guess a little trite, or not trite. It sounds a little.
The corniest shit is always the truest
cheesy.
shit,
but
it's so annoying. You have to say corny shit if you want to be true.
You do, and it's just like, okay, like I can tell you, I fucking I would belly laugh at Paul Mooney. Because you would walk out of there and people were like, oh my god, he's hilarious. And I remember calling friends, and it was like I had been beaten into submission. They were like, well, how was it? And I was like, he's fucking hilarious. Like, I tried to find a hole in the act, and I can't fucking find one, dude, because the minute that motherfucker would walk on stage, people talk about it like it's embarrassing. People talk about comics now like, oh, fuck it, this guy was ridiculous. When Paul Mooney walked on the stage, it was fucking dangerous.
Yeah, one of my favorite comedy stories is when Bill Burr was talking about opening for Paul Mooney, and he had walked like a couple people. I think we had talked about this before, and you went back and told Paul, and Paul pretty much told him, like, that's nothing. Wait till you see what happens when I get on stage. And that's the mentality of an entertainer that knows what people want to see. Because people don't want to see an in-between act. It's like, you either want people to feel like, oh, I'm on board with this, or you want people not liking it in the slightest of ways.
And you're looking for a way to give that to people. And then it's funny because I think very few people have that, and I think that the people that do have such a shelf life on it.
On what?
On being able to give people an experience like that. Because if you watch early Paul Mooney, he wasn't like that. Like, right around the time, there was a reason why Richard Pryor was the fucking headliner. And then it was like, then Paul Mooney came, and it's insane. But then you look like Joey uses the word, who are you a disciple of? And it's like, oh yeah, fucking Joey had to follow Paul. And it was like, I go, what was that like? And he goes, you'd see a lot of back of the heads walking away. Because as soon as Paul would crush, they'd fucking get
How
up
the hell
and
do you
leave.
follow Paul Mooney? He's one of the... Because he's so true to himself and so authentic. It's just like the next guy who walks on stage, one, probably doesn't have the balls to talk like he talks.
No.
And two, probably isn't in tune with himself to talk the way that he does. That's just like, people aren't there to see anything else because it's like, I'm looking at someone that's not really here.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's maybe it's those two things. Is one, having the skill set to be able to do that, but then two, having the temerity to fucking do that. Because it's one thing to be able to do it, to actually have the finesse to do it, but then to be like, you know what, I'm gonna talk about some shit.
Yeah, and I think you see how tough it is to do just in who our president is. Like, everyone, he wouldn't get elected. He got elected because every fucking Tom, Dick, and Harry was in their house like, oh yeah, I'm voting for Hillary. As soon as they're in the voters box, nope. No one's saying how they really feel. It's weird.
It's a fascinating thing, but back to you. So that was one thing that I had admired, was it was like, I remember for like a good week, I was like, what the fuck was that guy doing? Like, why? I always knew of him, and he was always a nice dude. And I was like, okay. But then, ever since then, like, you've been a force to be reckoned with, man. And I really respect that. I really fucking do, because I'll see people on the verge of it now. And I'm like, you know, and it's not like I'm fucking scouting any shit like that. It just, you see people where you're like, oh fuck, like the way that I always put it is, it's just like, okay, Robert Vertrees is tough to follow anytime. So is Brendan Cooney. And you know, it's an open mic, so it's not a fucking show. But like I said,
it is. It's energies.
All of those guys, I love doing open mics with, because it's fucking tough, because they leave an audience feeling something.
And they're all very different, and they have very different cadences and joke styles and joke writing.
Exactly.
And it challenges you to feel out different energies and follow those energies and see how can I play with stuff. It's fun. Our friends are good comics. It's fucking sick.
It is. It's funny, like with I just had a birthday, and thank you for coming, man. So
that was awesome.
Looking at all those comics, like I was looking at a guy like Yashar Coffee, just a fucking killer. I mean, a totally different style than anybody I've ever seen. Nicest guy off the stage too.
Yeah.
And I remember I had to follow him last night at an open mic. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. Walked out of there, and I was like, son of a bitch.
God damn it.
And I was mad at myself. I was like, fuck, you gotta write better fucking jokes.
Yeah.
And what's great about it, though, is I see, you know, other comics out there, maybe they haven't been doing it as long, but they'll come out of there and they're like, man, that guy's really good. That guy's really good. And I'm like, you want to fucking match him.
Yeah,
you at least want to be as good as he is.
Be better.
You want to be, yes, it's like, you want to make sure that you're giving him the same output that he's giving you.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm older now, so I don't have that feeling of, I want to be better. I no, and that's totally good. You're a fucking headhunter. I like that. I like, as Paul Mooney would say, I like a little salt on my cracker.
Hey.
But what it is, though, is it's just like, holy fuck, like, this guy's throwing fucking heat. Like, I got to make sure that I'm matching him too. And that's the beautiful thing. Like I said, when I looked at my fucking birthday party, I look at Josh Potter, look you, I see Yashar, and then I see Cooney and Vertrees sitting together, and then I'm just in my head. I see Luke, and I'm like, fuck, all of these guys are just fucking monsters.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's so much funny in one place.
Exactly. I was like, fuck, this is the funniest fucking spot. And Flappers was right next door.
They were
and
missing
I was
out.
Like, no,
missing out.
Yeah, exactly. We could fucking sell tickets to this shit.
Straight up with Joe barking outside. I had to shut down all my clubs early. Someone buy these tickets.
But it was great to fucking see, to be honest. And like I said, I don't mean that to sound condescending.
No, not at all, dude. I
don't
completely understand.
Yeah, I don't see you in competition, but it's just a matter of like, we're colleagues, and I was like, fuck, I gotta call out this guy. I think, I'll laugh when somebody's bombing. I think that
you have
hilarious.
two different laughs. Yeah, there's a you're bombing Rocha laugh where you have to just be like, yep, I'm doing that inside as well. Yeah, like what's happening. And then there's the like, oh, that's a good joke, and you can tell the two when you performed in front of you a couple of times. You're like, oh, okay, these are the different ones.
Is it a different laugh?
It is a different laugh. I'm trying to think about what it is. See, that's just a genuine laugh. You're like laughing, you're like enjoying yourself, and then when someone's bombing, you don't laugh when you're supposed to laugh because it's not reptilian. Someone will crack a joke and you think, it's just like quick. You're like, oh yes, bad joke. That's what that was right there.
I think I've talked about it before. That's kind of the thing of it that I used to love on Opie and Anthony is when somebody would have a shitty joke.
I love shitty jokes.
And it was like, there would be this, you would just...
That's the best.
And you could feel those guys just hold out, and that silence was so like, ugh. And then there would come a point where all of them would start laughing.
Yeah.
And that person would feel the need to explain why they fucking did that.
Yeah, and then you hear,
God.
all right, look.
Yeah,
okay, guys.
I got greedy. It was just like, ugh, you fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to bring to Fourth Wall. That was different.
You did it, baby.
From other spots, though, it was so much fun to see, and to me that was a real experience.
It is. It's like, I don't know if you play video games, but I guess in real life, like the military simulations for war, it's like you're really not in it at the Fourth Wall. Like you're not in combat here, but by letting the person on stage know, like, we love you by not loving you here.
Absolutely.
And it's like when you can hear the silence, like you'll hear that AC unit kick on. Oh. You'll fucking hear the curtains flap in the background. It's the shit. It's like, you're not funny right now, bro.
No. And I don't know. It's funny because Nick DiPaolo talked about it one time when we went to go see him. He was saying you ought to cherish comedy clubs because where else can you hear fucked up shit like this? And it's exactly true. And it's just like that, it's still a place where you can hear anything.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's what makes it special. I think comedy clubs it is church. Comedy clubs are the only churches or like music venues, but like that's it. That's where, like, if someone as a comic, I think it was in one of these one of those documentaries that I think it may have been the Seinfeld one, or whatever the other
comedian,
one. Yeah, whatever the other one besides comedian was that was famous. But where you're saying, like, as an audience member during a comedy show, you're really enjoying yourself, but as a comic, you're enjoying it like a little bit more. And it's so true. It's because everyone's laughing, and laughing is just like, that's happiness. That's what's up. It's the best. And if you're saying fucked up shit while doing it, it's like, that's even better.
And that's, I guess, the thing of it too is the magic of I guess what those bar shows were, because like Cooney, I was talking with Puglisi about this. I remember being here doing bar shows with Rob Banks, and then you'd see Brendan Cooney on one of them. Rob Puglisi would be on one of them, and those guys were good. But when they would get in front of a bar audience, for all of us, it could go either way.
Oh, it's tough.
And it was like, fuck me. Okay, this bitch, she won't shut the fuck up. I said I was gay, and you can hear her going, what a fag. And you're just like, okay, how do I...
It's so unruly.
Okay, how do I get her? And you know you want. It's like you were saying. You yearn to fucking be better. You yearn to be that Italian fucking comic. Or a Patrice O'Neill that can shut the door on anybody's fucking opinion. But yearning and fucking doing it are two different things.
Totally different things. I think the people that piss me off the most, and a lot of people make me angry as I have a Napoleon complex. But I think the thing that gets me mad as like a comic who's been a bad comic more than I've been good is like people who try and tell you how to approach stand-up who have never done it. It's like, yo, just playing with energies. Like, you just have to be confident out there. It's like, hey, do it. Like, if it's so easy, then you do it, bro, because it feels fucking amazing when you crush. Like, it's probably the greatest feeling in the world when you're making people, everyone's laughing and you're having a good time. So people would want to do it. But when people start telling you how to, that's when it's just like...
Oh, it's infuriating.
Like you said, what would you say? Fight me. Or whatever you said. You want to go? That's you want to go moment.
It was. I remember it was funny too because I used you in a joke one time. You know how there's that wall in Fourth Wall? There's a thinly veiled wall that separates basically one room.
Oh, the behind you?
Absolutely. And so it's a not well crafted wall.
Is it a wall?
It's a not very well crafted wall. Anyways, somebody was pounding on it and leaning against it pretty hard. And when I got up, I said, "Don't lean on this fucking wall too hard." I go, "It'll tip over." And I said, "What if I just push this fucking wall down?" And then right there, you saw Bruno Mastrodicasa making toys for Christmas. And then he looks at all of us and goes, "You want to fucking go?" But
oh, hell yeah.
It was, there's an energy to, I guess, every performance. even if it is a bomb, like, I don't want a bomb, but there is something that is infinitely interesting about fucking hitting somebody, whether it be Bill Hicks style or even like Carlin-esque, whatever the fuck it is. I guess what I'm thinking of is it's just like leave people with an experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, don't make them sorry for coming out. Like, it's just that fucking simple, but it's not a simple thing to do.
I think it's because a lot of people don't want to put it on them. It's like, you're responsible for this. Like, you should just be lucky people fucking came here. There's no reality that exists where people should be sitting down listening to me talk. I haven't earned it in the slightest of ways. So the fact that they're there is good enough. Mm-hmm. Earn whatever you have to earn on stage. And I think the people that don't look at it as like a thing that is in their direct control to do are the ones that don't do it because they're looking for every reason why it's not happening and how they can get better and work at it.
And I think, I don't know, I'm at the point now where, like, I think Fourth Wall is a little too comfortable.
Yep. That's why I'm leaving a little bit. I've gotten way too comfortable. Yeah. I feel like it's, I don't know if I should say this on record, but fuck it. I think it's made open mics, it's changed the open mic culture here tremendously to the point where I'm a little, like, over it. To the extent of, like, there's too many of them now. I can't do open mics past 9 o'clock. All of them are dead because all the comics don't go anymore. So I can't get my nightly late night mics if I'm working.
Yeah.
And it's, like, the same people every time. So I can't work out multiple, like, the same joke every single day, so to speak. Like, to try out different punchlines and rework it. And, yeah, I could be going to other places for sure. But the thing that made the Fourth Wall dope was that there were like 2 or 3 different locations. I can get different audience almost nightly, and I can work out material and know I just have to be there for an hour, and I can bop out. And it's like, now I have to go all these bar shows and do the buckets again. It's like, well, then fuck it. Like, if we're back to square one, Yeah. It's
one thing too, like, I don't know if it's the community or what the fuck it is. I don't know. I don't consider myself a friendly person, and it's not that I don't like making friends or I don't like being nice to people.
I know what you mean.
It's a very strange thing because like I don't know when
you
when
piece
I
of shit. I know.
I think of this like I can't stand to hear somebody say they killed.
It's tough
at the open mic level, because I guess for me, like I've done well, and before something happened, I used to be able to say, "Oh yeah, I killed." And what happened was I went to the Ice House and I opened for Joey, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, I did pretty good. I feel happy about that. Like I crushed that." Mm-hmm. And then Joey fucking went on. Joey went on, and I've never seen an audience do this. Not even for fucking Paul Mooney. I've seen them go fucking apeshit crazy like this. But I remember at one point the audience was all going, Joey, 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 Joe.
That's power.
Half of them were laughing, and the other half were going, Joey, Joey. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Define killing.
Exactly. And that's why I was like, I didn't do a fucking thing.
Yeah.
And it was so, dude, it was heartbreaking, and it was so fucking, it's just one more reason why I love Joey so much, because I look at him and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. And he looks at me and he just smiles and he's like, it's tremendous. And he's so grateful and he's so happy, but it's in him, dude. He's a fucking killer. Yeah. And he doesn't have to tell people, because he won't. And he's not that kind of guy.
Because he knows they know.
Yeah, and it's just such an admiration. Like, it's like, Joey, you fucking killed them. And he's like, I love them. I love them. And it's just like, yeah, it's deeper.
You
than
have
that.
to, yeah.
But that's the other reason I wanted to have you on, man. I'm gonna fucking miss you, but you are going on to, I would say, greener pastures, but there's no fucking grass there except in Central Park. Where are you going, brother?
What was that? Where? When? What was the question?
Where?
Where? New York City, baby.
Oh shit.
Don't know what part. But my buddy lives in Manhattan right now, so he's planning on looking at areas. Apparently, Alphabet City looks like it's pretty good to move into, like as far as the lower rent prices, and maybe some spots in Brooklyn. But I really have no idea. I've never tried to live out there.
Have you? You've been out there though, right?
Yeah, I visited.
Okay. Yeah, I lived out there 2004 to 2008.
Did you ever do stand-up while you were out there? Like, I know you worked at a club.
I did, like, I think maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4
Work.
open mic. Not many.
Yeah.
No, it was a different kind of scene. Like, I guess, because I was more into the theater and more into acting.
Gotcha.
So for me here, it was kind of like, okay, yeah, I want to do stand-up here. But there, like, I had not really gone to the Comedy Cellar. Caroline's on Broadway was what I knew. And I was like, okay, yeah, because that's Mooney. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I lived out there 2 years. I was going to school, and then the other 2, I was with my ex-boyfriend at the time, and we were living together. We lived in Ditmars, which was Astoria, Queens. Which that place was fucking great. The neighborhood was really good.
Oh, word. Okay, hell yeah.
I could hold that motherfucker's hand and not worry about getting beat up.
Hey, that's a big victory.
I would fucking hold his hand and he'd be like, babe, no, let's not do that here. And I'm like, fuck you. He was the one that used to have to tell me, he'd be like, hey, we're in the Bronx. Let go of my fucking hand. Like, sometimes I would really want to queer it up, and he'd be like, yeah, I don't, get the fuck off me, it's hot. Fuck you then. Fucking bitch. I'd open up in a window and I'd be like, here, let's cuddle now, motherfucker.
That's so funny.
Fucking bastard.
I love it. But yeah, I'm curious to see what it's like out there. at minimum, I'll be there a year and then bounce back out here if I'm like, same shit. Because if it is the same shit, I don't know why I would deal with those winters.
I know, those fucking winters are harsh.
It's tough. Yeah, God, the cold weather sucks.
I'm excited for you, though, dude.
I'm pretty pumped, man. I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard a lot of good things from a lot of people, and it's been real cool, especially telling people, like, I'm leaving. I've been hearing a lot of positive stuff from people, like, yo, like, I'm very excited for you. That's awesome. I'm glad you're doing that. I've only heard one person just be like, oh, that's stupid, bro. Why would you do that? And then I also thought, I'm making a good decision. Okay, just do opposite of what said person.
Oh, fuck, I gotta write that down just in case.
So, yeah, I think I'm making a smart choice. Also, straight up, all these fires happening, I'm just like, if there's any time to leave, I think I'm going to hop out for a year and see if LA makes it.
I know, right? Fucking... No wonder you're not leaving because you want to get better. You're competitive.
I want to live.
Yeah, you want to fucking...
I'm going to outlive you.
Oh, that's not hard.
The Comedy Store will collect an insurance check, build a bigger one.
So it's funny because they talk about that place closing, not like it's right around the corner, but I've heard people say, like, read the writing on the wall. Like, how much longer does the Shore family really want to keep it?
Someone will have to.
Yeah, before it turns corporate.
Oh, you think they'll turn into like chains and?
Well, consider this. I mean, if you wanted to sell that club and make a name off of it,
yeah,
you could. I mean, it wouldn't be hard. Because consider this too. I mean, the Cellar is in Vegas. At some point,
and at the Village Underground now, they have 3 locations, right?
Exactly. At some point, they've got 3 rooms now at the Comedy Underground, the Fat Black Pussycat, and then the original Cellar. The Comedy Store's got the belly room, the original room, and the main room. That's all one spot. But then they got La Jolla too.
Mm-hmm. Is that just one room in La Jolla?
Yeah, to my knowledge, yeah.
Nice.
But if you look at it, like, you know, these are all owned by families, and like, what is it? Noam Dwarman owns the Cellar, and that was from Manny. And then, you know, you have the Shore family from Mitzi.
Yeah.
That's a family business. So,
yeah.
You know, it's great because these people, you know, Manny Dwarman and fucking Mitzi, they were powerful people. They were people that really, I think, built this fucking thing from the ground up, or helped, I should say.
I mean, in the most literal sense, yeah.
You know, the fucking Cellar. You know, there were spots where I've heard that the store was a ghost town.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, comics were just starting off at the Cellar because they couldn't get up at Catch a Rising Star or wherever the fuck was popular then. So it's interesting to see where it will go in the next fucking 50 years. Like, will there still be a Comedy Cellar in 50 years? Will there still be a store in 50 years?
The weird thing to think is, because I don't foresee us quitting this goofy thing, is that we'll be a part of that, which is weird to think about. But it's like, God willing, we're still alive, and if we are still alive, we'll still be doing stand-up. It's crazy. Like, it's weird to think where it'll be. Because, it seems like every day you're hearing about a club kind of closing down or potentially closing down. It's odd.
What made you leave improv?
The
war with improvers and improvisers and stand-ups.
Yeah, the main problem I had with improv was this is where I might have to get on my Kanye shit, but like they weren't allowing me to be free enough in who I am, to the extent of they limit you in scenes. They tell you like, oh, this is what makes good comedy, and it's like, who are you to tell me what makes good comedy, because I generate the funny. And like, I was just so over the fact of like making an audience laugh and then them telling me like, oh, you're failing classes. And it's like, this is kind of goes against what you were saying of saying you were killing, but it's like, I was in those classes. I was doing the scenes. I can tell when I'm making people laugh, because I can also know I've left class many, many, many times being like, holy fuck, I suck. Like, and it like sleepless nights because like I don't know, you love it. And like I know when I was doing well, and it was just like I failed the Groundlings intermediate class 3 times, I think, or like 3 times, and I was just like over it. And it like, and the third time I took it, it was like I was murdering, and I was like, what the fuck? And like they even told me like, you're really good at improv, you're funny, but like we just don't think you have like, you're not good enough at doing characters yet. And it was like and then after that I was just like, you know what, you guys taught me what I needed to learn about performance and about giving emotion and what like an audience wants to see. But it's like
fair.
As far as being comedically funny, Bruno Mastrodicasa isn't for this place, because you guys also don't let your talent shine through as far as the individuals, I think. Like, it's always under the guise of, like, UCB, where at least with like, Groundlings, where at least, and then even if you are one of the select few, then you have to be on an ensemble show again. And it's like, I just want to do my own shit to the point where, like, even if I do want to hold chicks inside a room and jerk off in front of them without their consent, if my fans want to buy tickets, they can still do that.
Jesus, Bruno, let me...
No, but...
All right, that's it for Bruno.
I'm canceled. But, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where stand-up is you, and it's on you, and I get to create the content I get to create, whereas improv, it's like, oh, I need 8 of these goofy motherfuckers, and 4 of them I don't even think are funny, but I have to create a scene with them and work under the guise of, we're all geniuses.
It's
like,
yeah. It's funny because I go back and forth. Would it be fair to say...
But I love improv.
I think say
it's the greatest skill for a entertainer to learn. Like, I think if you're a stand-up comic and you haven't taken improv classes, you're a cuck. Just do it. Like, quit. Like, you're just being like, you're just following what everyone else is saying. Like, oh, improv's for fucking homos. It's like, dude, take the class. You'll learn that it's going to make you an amazing performer, because it breaks you. Like, you can't get away with not getting emotional. And it's like, once you learn that aspect of comedy, it's like you start saying things that aren't even funny, but they can tell how much you care, and the audience is just like along for the ride, because it's like, oh, this dude is like really cares about how much Popeye's chicken sandwiches suck, like, and they're just along for it, I think.
Would it be fair to say you weren't a team player?
Yeah, I've lived my whole life wanting to be a team guy, and I think the last year I've realized I don't like being on teams. I'm not good in them.
Because that's what I think. Is it's because you said something in that before the jerking off thing.
I should have said that.
I like how you won't name the person, but you'll be like, "Oh, I lock a girl in."
I wouldn't do that. I don't do that. I'm actually super corny before I have sex. I always am like, I have consent, right?
Do you really?
I always do it, and then they're like, "What?" I'm just like, I ain't trying to get played out here, and that always makes them laugh, and I'm in there. Take notes. I don't know if you're listening. Take notes. I play the game. Dude, Joe tried my ass the other day, dude, at your birthday party. He walked up to me and was like, yo, Mastro, what's up? I was like, what's up, Joe? First sentence out of his mouth. When was the last time you got laid? Hey, bro, don't check me like that. But also, yesterday. And he was like, wait, what? And then he looked at Virtue. He was like, do you believe Mastro got laid? And he was like, Virtue was like, what are you trying to do? And also, yeah, what is this, Joe? People be checking you out here if you 5'5". You gotta stay strong. Short people stay in solidarity.
All right, easy. Jesus Christ. Fucking.
I told you, dude. I get on my Kanye sometime.
Yes. Jeez, I feel like you're auditioning for 8 Mile. Fucking.
I will have crushed it.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Ugh. Is that what I sound like when I talk about rock and roll?
A little bit. But that's okay. We're learning each other.
Fuck you, I do not.
It's all love, though.
Jesus Christ. Fucking Glock is going to fall out of this kid's hoodie in any fucking minute.
Straight up, I stay wrapped up, strapped up.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Why do you think I sweat all the time? I constantly carry a heater. Fuck you, that was a good joke.
Even my neighbor's music stopped. No,
They want to hear the truth.
It wasn't, boy.
They're turning into the vibes.
They said it's about time he got a black guest downstairs. And then they're going to see you walking out. And they're going to go, what the fuck is that?
That's soul. That's what that is, bro. I bring the fucking soul. People about it. Oh, man.
See, that's just a taste of like of the shit we give. Oh, god damn.
I forget what we were even talking about.
I had it, god damn it. No, it was let's see, New York.
Oh, it started with the consent thing. I say I do say, yeah, I have consent, right? Mm-hmm. And they say, yeah.
Team player.
Oh yeah, I'm not a team player.
Because here's the thing with improv, like, and this is one thing that's funny about Luke Allen. Anytime I'm in Hollywood, I'll take a picture of the Improv Olympics. That
place sucks.
Shut down. Like,
it was awful.
There's boards in the windows and it's shut down until further notice. I'll always take a picture and I'll send it to Luke because he told me anytime you're by that place, take a picture of the fact that it's shut down and send it to me. And he goes, because I cannot hear that enough. That's how much he fucking hates improv.
Really?
Oh, he fucking he hates it. It stinks. is specifically how he says it.
I mean,
and I
get it.
I don't feel that way.
I don't. I've seen some of the most magical shit happen on improv stage with like really good players. When you're watching them, I've been blown away at some shit that they've been able to create. But like on the whole, doing it, I think that I'm an asshole. So like the word, I knew I had to stop doing improv when I thought this thought, because it's an unhealthy thought to have. And I was just like, I was in scenes and you're in scenes with like 3, 4, sometimes 8 people. And I was just like wishing everyone on my team was me. I was like, I wish I could just play with me. I know it's such a cock thought to have, but I was like, improv doesn't give you the ability to fundamentally disagree that they're not funny.
It's not
Do you know
a
what I
cock
mean?
thought though. It's
It's a very asshole thought to have.
I think it's just something that's pointing you that this isn't what you should be doing. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? Like I think, you hear this story about Attell being a writer for Saturday Night Live, and he was a writer for a year, and he didn't fit in there. It's the funniest story because what he ended up doing, like Jay Marr was talking about with Attell, he was like, Dave would come in and he'd pitch a few jokes. It wasn't that he wasn't working, it's just that the other writers, that he didn't click with them as well. Like they were like Harvard, they wrote for the National Lampoon, and they wrote like, okay, what should we call this school? Washington, too urban. Whatever. Oh, that's too specific, too highbrow, too blah 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 blah. And Dave tells like, oh well, why don't we just why don't we write a dick joke here, or whatever it was that he was doing. So what he would do is this guy, and consider this though, Dave Attell got hired on to Saturday Night Live. Mm-hmm. That's one of the most sought after jobs at the time.
Oh man, this day,
at the time.
Yeah.
So what he would do though is he would get up and he'd like around 9:30, 10, whatever time it was, he'd say, I gotta go to the bathroom. He'd go downstairs, go to a club, and he'd hit multiple clubs where he'd do drop-in spots or whatever spots that he had. He'd come back at 2 or 3 in the morning, and those guys are still writing, and he'd come back like he just come from the bathroom and go, whoo, that was a long one. But it was just so clear that this is not for him.
Yeah,
like,
this isn't what you do.
Who leaves a job at SNL to go do stand-up spots around New York City, come back with a handful of cash, and then just, whoo, that was a long one.
I think that's the guy you should want on SNL, though, because that's a cowboy. That's a dude who's like willing to give you the shit that I think like they think is funny, And it's just like not utilizing players properly. And I think that's been the problem with SNL. And I think Bill Hader even said this on their 6 Days to Air, that South Park documentary, where it's like SNL has become such an American institution that their reach has become friends with all the people who make the culture, to the point where you can't make fun of the culture, which is what comedy's supposed to be, that they're like afraid that, oh, then they won't host, so on and so forth, that they're not taking risks with the cast members, and so the show is safe, and it's not supposed to be safe.
That's an interesting take on it. I mean,
Or that it's only for high school kids, and we all outgrow SNL as we get older.
Maybe that's it. I mean, I don't know. Our tastes obviously change as we get older. Different shit happens to us, but I don't know, man. Should comedy be subversive? Should it be, Puglisi was talking to me about something Patrice O'Neill used to say, and I think it was like 60-40. 60% should like you, 40% should not. And he's like, if you're, and I don't know if that's the
but numbers like
number.
I believe in, I don't know if it's a 60-40, but even if it's 90-10, I don't believe it should always be 100. Because you should be saying, unless it's like your audience, right? Like Doug Stanhope sends out his email list and all of his audience comes. To me, it would make sense if it's like 100% they're on board, because it's like he's been doing it for so long. It's like, is he really going to say something to his audience where they're going to be like, I'm offended or something? Maybe if I bring my date and my girl's not a fan of Stanhope. So for sure, right? So let's just say at minimum, then it's always 90-10. I think you should, because then that's showing as the artist you're taking a risk. Even if it's just a bad joke that doesn't land or something, like I don't think your whole set should be to the point where everyone in the audience should be like, oh, I like that. Like there should be some people that don't. Because then that means you're being you. You're not... In the words of Stand-Up, in his book, he's like, if you're doing a set and you're bombing, and then you start trying to work your material to placate the audience and get them back on your side, it's like you can't even fall on self-respect after that show. It's like you didn't respect yourself. So it's like respecting yourself is saying the shit that's true to you, which is going to make people disagree because people don't like when people are being true to themselves.
I mean, it makes sense. I can't argue against that. I don't know how in tune I am to that on stage. I mean, I'll be honest, because it's like, I don't know. I've never been afraid to bomb in front of an audience, and like, I'll call out people for just fucking looking at me wrong on stage. And I mean, it is like, fuck. And I never like talking about truth on stage, because to me it's like, don't fucking tell me the truth. Be funny.
Yes.
Like, be fucking funny.
First and foremost.
I don't give a shit how much truth you're fucking telling up there. Be funny. That's what they came here to see. And even Stanhope in that same fucking breath is, it's just like, he never does an outrageous point of view without a joke first. And that's what I've always respected. Or a joke soon after, however the fuck you want to do it. Mm-hmm. What are you hoping to find in New York, man?
Honestly, a little bit more of a challenge. Not that this has been easy in any extent. Not at all. I just think as a 25-year-old man, my life has been pretty easy so far, as far as just like the things that like I do. Not saying I'm looking to make it harder on myself, but I think New York's a tough place to live, and I'm excited to take on the like adversity of it and the toughness of it, and see how it develops me and makes me better. I think it'll make me a better comic. I heard you can get a lot more sets in, so that's also something that piques my interest. Really looking forward to No Traffic. But I guess your question was, what am I looking to get out of it? Just to become a better comic, be around cool friends. Another thing is, I've never had a good living situation here. When I first moved out here, I ended up living with like 3 chicks who I wasn't really friends with at all, and that was like kind of a nightmare. And now I live in this, like, I'm a property manager, and the people I live with are garbage. So like, it's just been, I have like a couple best friends over there, and we're working at a spot. So I'm just excited to be living with my best friends, have a cool comedy city, try something new. kind of spice it up. And then I guess the ultimate thing I'm trying to figure out is where do I want to get established, I guess. Because it seems like you either have to live in New York or L.A. to do it. And since I've lived out here for 3 years, I know L.A. And while I can still see what New York is like without having to give up a whole bunch, I think it would be unique to get that experience and be like, oh, you know what? New York sucks ass. I liked L.A. a lot. Let me just move back here. I know it's like, you know?
Do you think, just going in right now, do you think there is like a bias of New York versus L.A.?
I think it depends on who you ask, but I think there's totally a bias. I think depending on who you ask, it's a good bias or a bad bias, right? So I talked to some people in the bad bias. Someone said, I still don't know what this means. They're like, it's a beta market, bro. It's a beta market. It's a beta market. Still to this day, don't know what that means, considering there's like a bunch of comedy clubs there and a bunch of people still move there to do stand-up. But you do hear like kind of negative things about New York, I guess. Like it's really tough to live there. The rent is really expensive. Also, people who say the rent, I could be wrong here, but maybe you tell me if this makes sense. I feel like it all equals out because if you're out here, you're paying car insurance, gas. Like, there are things that go into cost of living that out there you can deduce, and then that just goes into, like, the place you have to live. So I feel like it kind of balances out more or less. It's not going to be cheap if you're trying to live in a major city to begin with.
No. And that's the thing, is if you want to survive, you can fucking survive anywhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really about what is your hang-up. Like,
yeah.
You know, I was always a slob, so I could fucking live anywhere. Mm-hmm. You know,
I don't know if that's true. Your apartment is very nice. I don't know.
Yeah, it's my fucking roommate.
Yeah, this is all him. He does a remarkable job.
He's all right. No, he's good. He's good. Yeah, I think.
I have heard a lot of overly positive things, like, "Oh man, you got your ass crazy," like all this good stuff. So I'm curious to see if that's way overhyped. Do you know what I mean? Because I think Josh Potter probably gave me the realist explanation. He's like, it's the same exact thing. They're open mics, they're comedy clubs. It's going to be a grind. It's not going to be easy. It's not like, don't go there expecting it to be easier. It's probably going to be harder. So like, that's probably what it is. On the bright side, you can just do it till later at night, I think, which is something that piques my interest a little bit.
The one thing that I absolutely miss about New York is, like, here I'll be up, like, okay, I don't have to work tomorrow.
Nice.
I'll be up probably tonight till about 3 or 4. And that's not a big deal. Here it is.
Yeah, for
like,
food.
Here they're like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, what are you doing up so late? Like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's so annoying. It's actually the worst. I don't like the street food here. I miss Jamaican beef patties so much. Slices of pizza, being able to walk around, and like you said, it's not like a ghost town. Like, people are still up and doing stuff at like 3, 4 in the morning, and it's not weird. Yeah, out here it's like in between 1:30, like, even, all right, let's just say that on a weekday in LA, after 11 o'clock until like 6 in the morning, it's like weird if you're out. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like, what the fuck are you doing? If you're not walking a dog, then you're up to something.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I'm also curious to see what it's like in a city where people walk around, if people really do just walk into comedy clubs to catch shows, and like if open mics do just get like more random people. Because I've heard that, and I think that's just people who live out there. It's like, oh, it's sick, man. Like, we get people off the street who come in because it's just like, you know, in reality, it's probably just like 8 comics sitting in a fucking shithole, like the fourth wall, watching someone on stage.
I don't know, man. It's great because one thing I do want to do is I want to talk to you when you're out there, like, a while. And I don't know whether it be like we set up a phone call or just check in with you, dude, because I really do respect you. I love you a lot, man. You're one
brother.
of the good people that, like I said, I'm not trying to be condescending, but I feel like I watched you come up in some respects.
Dude. I appreciate that.
Oh, this was a guy that I remember seeing around, and he kept coming back, and now I'm sitting there, and I'm like, fuck, how am I going to follow this guy? And there was something really endearing about that, where I was like, "Fuck yeah, there you go, Bruno! Like that's fucking badass. Like this guy's got his balls in him. It's great."
It's so fun watching people who you like get better at stuff. Like,
Yeah.
and I think what you were talking about, like how it's not condescending. It's not, like, because let's examine the situation. Like, you have been doing stand up longer than I have, and as such, you're a better comic, and you're looking at it, especially just for the longer standpoint of it. You've seen what it's like to do this, like, in the different phases you kind of go through as a comic. Like, you kind of go through an aggressive phase where you're like kind of always testing the audience a little bit, and then you kind of learn to dial that back, and then you go through overly offensive phase, and you dial that back, and like this goofy shit that you like learn, so you kind of like see it. So it's like, it's nice to hear that from someone else, because it is like a skill set thing. Like, if you're really into lifting weights, and like, for someone a big thing is like doing a 45 plate on each side. Like, I just want to do a plate on each side. Like, I wanted to put that weight up, and it's like, all right, like, it takes work and it takes time. It's like, when they finally do it, it's like, you're happy for that person. It's like, oh, like, you put in the work, the time, the effort to like hit this point, but you can still put more weights on there now. So like, now let's get to 2 plates on each side. And it's like, Bill Burr says this about stand up, and it's so true. One of the things I love about it the most, because one of the things that sucks about meditation, and like, there's a quote from this guy, like, but like, meditation and like running and stuff like that, even stand up, why people quit is they're all single player games. That's what makes improv easy to stick with. It's like, you have your team, so it's like you're doing it and you're always in the shit with your team, and like, you have those people. But it's like, if I just quit stand up, you might be like, damn, like, Bruno was talented, like, that sucks he stopped. But it's like, you're not gonna really give a fuck. Like, more or less, yeah.
And it would take me a while to find out you were gone.
Exactly, right? And that's what makes it tough. It's like, it's a single player game. That's why people are like, oh, I meditate. And it's like, do you do it every day? Probably not, because it's hard for the consistency. It's like purely on you. And to get better at that means you have to, every day, when everything and everyone is telling you do something else, you're like, no, I'm going to do this single player game that just fulfills me a little bit. And those little things that help you snap along the way, and like, oh, I kind of figured something out a little bit. It's fun to experience that, and it's even better when your friends see it and they're like, yo, I see you. Like, that's dope, the little bit of progress you're making. Like, I'm seeing what's happening. So it's not condescending. It's like, makes you feel really good. That's what's up.
How do you generate content material? Like, anything now?
Like, new material I create?
How do you write?
I try and just this is such a corny, I try and be really present in my daily life, as far as like, when I'm conversing with my friends. All right, so this is how I'll generate material. Like, yesterday I was riding around with my friend, and I was making fun of people with bumper stickers, because I think bumper stickers are so stupid, as we all do. This is like a hacky premise, but it's like, this one dude had one was like proud atheist on it, and he was a white guy with like blue hair dyed. And I was talking to my friend, I was like, if there's one thing we know for sure about bumper stickers, is that anyone who has them totally is not friends with black people. Do I know if that's a funny premise for a bit? Maybe a little bit. It made you laugh. It made my friend laugh. And I was like, okay, maybe there's something in there. And then we can work with stuff like that. So that's usually it. Like, funny shit I say to my friends, and I'm like, oh, word, okay.
Do you sit down and write?
And then I'll sit down and listen to my recordings back, and then jot down the laugh lines, and then I'll try and rework it. One of the things I'm in a constant state of trying to find is the premise. Because, like, once I find, I think I told you this, I coach speech and debate, and one of the bases for argumentation is hooking the listener in with a short declarative sentence that is your opinion. So I'm always trying to rewrite and find the nice umbrella for, like, how can I get the audience on board with what I'm trying to prove.
Give me an example.
God's got my back. Right? That's the tag right there. That's my one claim. I know my life's good because God's got my back, fellas. He's the fucking man. He works for me. And we know it's true because I saw my ex-girlfriend when I was home in Florida like a couple months ago. And I don't know if I told you, she cheated on me. And that sucks. But God's got my back. I saw her, and she's fat now. That's what's up, dude. She's not thirsty anymore. She's hungry, fellas. That's what's up. God's got my back. And, like, that'll be, like, the idea that I'll work it into, like, for that premise, you know what I mean?
Okay. So you said a hook though. You always look for like a hook sentence or
Yeah, like what am I trying to?
yeah.
Ron
I'm
White's
not asking you to burn any material, bro.
No. That's fine. But I think Ron White's the master of it. In his last Netflix special, it's like, why should the audience care about what you're telling them? And I think the best way to have the audience care is for me to give you an opinion and then try and prove that opinion true.
Ah, okay.
Even if it's a story. Because then the story is the justification for the opinion. Oh, no, you have no idea. Here's why. And then you can launch into your whole storytelling act, and then you can do all of that. But the audience knows it's like, I'm trying to make you guys think of this thing because this is what I think. And I think that's what a premise is. I think Chris Rock does it like so hard. Like, women are stupid. Like, I don't know if that's a bit he does, but like, he'll be like, women are stupid. Women are so stupid. And then he'll launch into like a tirade of reasons and like smart logic that's funny of why. And they'll be like, how more do I have to keep telling you women are so fucking stupid? And then he'll go on for like longer. And it's like, I'm always looking for that. Where can I get the audience on board? And then I just have to go on stage and talk, and hopefully the jokes find themselves.
Who are your top 3 comics right now?
Okay, I like how you said right now because it is changing.
It always changes, man.
It's tough. Andrew Schultz, Bill Burr.
Who? No.
Who's that guy? Andrew Schultz, Bill Burr, and it's a tie. It's a tie between Chappelle and Joey Diaz.
Oh wow.
Joey changed how I viewed comedy because when I was in college, those This Is Not Happening episodes came out, and I wasn't doing stand-up as much. I was doing stand-up once a month or once every other week. I would go to this, one of my favorite open mics. I think it's better than the Fourth Wall. It's amazing. It was called the Thunder Bar, and you would do your 4 minutes. You could do 5, but you would do 4, and then if you want to, the last would be like a Q&A, and the other comics would like ask you goofy questions and like rip on you. It was a fun time. But I was watching Joey Diaz's stand-up because that's how I learned of him. I was just scrolling through YouTube.
Really?
I was scrolling through YouTube, getting high as shit with my friends, and just like watching this storytelling show. I was like, yo, I love these because I had seen Jim Brewer. Have you seen his? The one about the fucking holla, holla, holla. I saw that shit, made me laugh so fucking hard. And then I think Joey's Sister Hyacinth bit came on. And as someone who went to Catholic school for 13 years, that hit me right in the feels. And it hit me in a way where I was like, holy shit. 1, this is an amazing story. 2, I didn't know stand-up could be like this. Like, it was... And Joey Diaz exemplifies what improv strives to teach their students, which is stop caring about what you're saying and start caring about how you're saying it. And he's just such an emotional powerhouse on stage that's like, even like there are large chunks where the audience isn't laughing and they're not supposed to. And he knows they're not supposed to. And he's in full control of it. And you don't care that you're not laughing. You're like, this is just so amazing. It goes back to what you were saying in the beginning. It's like you want an experience. And I remember just getting super high watching those on my couch and just watching them all on repeat, especially the part where he goes, thank God for Italian people. That made me feel, I was like, yes, thank God for Italian people. But that like blew the back of my head off for what stand-up could be as like a way to like make people feel something. And that's when I was like, oh, I think I really want to do stand-up. All the like I forgot how much I loved it, and that's what made me want to get back into it.
Damn. I don't know, buddy. I'll tell you, man. I respect your hustle so much, and you are so sincere.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's no bullshit with you, and I know because I've fake called you out. Like, you don't fucking mean that, and you just look at me and you're like, keep going, bro. It's not gonna work with me. It makes me laugh. It's like, fuck you. Then I'll get you tomorrow, you little fuck. And you'll just be
keep
like,
trying, baby.
No. Yeah. But I like you. And then you just walk away and they'd be like, I like that guy. And they'd be like, really? Because you were a fucking dick to him. And I'm like, nah, he knows what I'm doing.
Yeah, but that's love. I love that though. That's the shit. That's the best part of like being friends with comics is it's like we love fucking with each other the most. And like that's why I love having a little brother. Like to this day, like when he calls me or I call him, it's like, yo, what's up, faggot? And so like we're just fucking with each other, and it's just like it's just the funnest shit. Like just to be able to fuck with someone, it's like know that's love.
Yeah, dude, it's been great seeing you do your thing and fucking just. I've seen you really pack a punch to some fucking audiences.
Thanks, man.
It's been a lot of fun, dude. And I gotta tell you, man, I really am gonna miss you. And I want
thanks,
you. That's love leaving my body.
That's what that is. Hell yeah.
I love seeing you around, and I'm gonna miss seeing you around. It's not like
thanks,
you're dead,
dude.
but yeah, buddy. I really want to know what life is like in New York for you. So you got to stay in touch.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just with me, but with the show. Because the nice thing is, listeners that I do have, they look up a lot of these comics and they want to know,
oh hell yeah,
how are they doing and what's going on. So anybody in New York, if you listen to the show, fucking Bruno's coming your way. And
hell yeah, baby, March 2020.
I was gonna say, god damn, that's insane. So when do you leave California?
What is it? November 10th. So not this Sunday, next Sunday. Pretty quick.
So what are you gonna do? What's your plan?
Doing a road trip back home with my friend. So I start that Sunday. I'm gonna drive to Las Vegas, hang out there for a day, go to the Grand Canyon, hang out there for a little bit, and then make a long haul down to Roswell, New Mexico. See that like UFO crash landing site and shit. Because one of the things that you learn when you're planning the road trip from here back to the East Coast is if you're not going to the Northeast and you're going Southeast where I'm going, it sucks. The states are awful. It's just all the bad states. You have to like Arizona and New Mexico and the East Coast, the West Coast of Texas just sucks balls.
Doug Stanhope is a legitimate travel stop where you're like, oh, we gotta go see Doug Stanhope in Bisbee. There's nothing here.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty funny. Doug, bingo, we're here. We made it.
Get the fuck out of my yard.
But yeah, from Roswell, after we check out UFOs, go to Austin, Texas. From there, stay with a buddy in Atlanta, and then go home, or visit my brother in Tampa, and then go home and chill with the fam for a little bit. Stay there for a couple of months until my buddy's done with his lease in March. That way we can move in together.
Okay.
Yeah, so save up a little bit of cash, work some jobs. It seems like the South Florida scene has gotten bigger since I've left. Yeah. So reach out to some clubs, send out tape, see if I can get on shows and do stuff while I'm down there. Hit up open mics.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Are you from Boston originally?
No, from Florida.
Florida.
My whole family's just from there. So I grew up a huge Boston sports fan.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That explains that.
Yeah, if your dad's like, especially because in 2004 I was only 10. So when the Red Sox came back against the Yankees and seeing how pumped up that made my dad, it's like, how am I going to root for the Miami Marlins? You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. The Miami teams are a joke.
Poor bastard. Yeah.
But I do want to tell you before this ends, and I forget because I get spacey sometimes, that you do inspire, I think, a lot of comics on the scene, but especially me in particular. I don't know if you have to remember this because you do this quite frequently, which always blows my fucking head off. You do this thing that I love, and I think it's made me a lot better because it made me get uncomfortable with trying to just improvise a lot of stuff. But I always love how when I put you on the Let's Ride Hard shows that we did, like when we were doing those months and months ago, how you would usually in a 10-minute spot, you would do 6 to 7, sometimes 8 minutes of just improvised like work. And it wasn't, I wouldn't even say crowd work because you weren't talking to the audience really. It was like you created a 7-minute act while you were sitting down there observing the room, and you were just machine gunning jokes that you like wrote there. And I was like, oh my, like that's what I also love about improv, and I don't like what people shit on improv because it's like true live performance should be present and in the moment and a thing you can't replicate. And I think a lot of people think stand-up should be a thing where it's like you do the same jokes every night and you say them the same way. It's like that's bullshit. And seeing you perform inspired me to be like, oh, like it's not like that. Like you can do different stuff like every night. It's like that's how it should be. It's like, does that make sense?
No, buddy. I
really appreciate that. No, it was very eye opening to be like, oh, I never knew. Like, it was also one of those moments where like, oh, stand up can be done like this too. Like, you can just make up some shit and just you exemplify what it's like to be confident enough to know that you're funny to your bones and in your core, where it's like, if I'm a funny person, then hypothetically speaking, I should be able to grab that microphone and be funny. So I'm just going to simply do that. And you do that. And it's just like, yeah, word. Yeah.
You know what? And I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Like, sincerely, that's a nice thing for you to say. I think with those Right Hard shows, you guys had seen the jokes that I had. And those are jokes that I like to tell. Those are jokes that I like doing. To me, it was always finding a way into that audience. Because if I'm watching the room and, you know,
Nice.
fucking Heineken's. If I'm watching a show and I know what the audience, what the room is kind of doing, I want to win that room. And this is kind of where I'm going to fucking name drop. Through means I can't really say, because it's a HIPAA violation. I got to ask Whitney Cummings some stuff.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
She was fucking spectacular. She was so good to me.
She seems like such a very nice person.
She totally is. Like I said, to me, she was spectacular. I went to go see, and this was before I even had spoken a word to Joey, even uttered a word. She let me go to not only her taping, but I asked if I could go to Flappers for the 4 nights that she worked out her set for the taping.
Oh, before the one that dropped? Yeah. Oh, that's tight.
And so, you know, this was a while back, and so I got to see her work on that material. And, you know, this is at the time I was doing open mics a lot too, and like you, it was just it's great because, like I said, what I see so much in you is what I see in comics that I love and respect. I mean, we've dropped names like Ron White. We've dropped names like fucking
Paul Mooney,
Bill Burr, Patrice. And I want to get back to that. But what I was saying is, I asked Whitney, I was like, what? You know, I'm doing these bar shows and I fucking... It's so hard to get these fucking people. And I'm trying, and it's you know, and I'm attacking them, and I'm fucking. And she told me something that I don't know, and it's not for everybody, but it certainly worked with me. She asked me this question. She was like, "Well, what's wrong with the rooms?" And I was like, "I know it's not the rooms. I know it's me." And she's like, okay. And she said, well, 2 things that really helped me that I wish somebody had fucking said to me. And I said, yeah. And she goes, your act should be different every time you do it. It should be. However you arrive at whatever you have, that's fine. But how you get there should be different. And I said, okay, all right. She goes, every time it's that way. And the thing that really hit me was she said, love your audience. And I kind of looked at her, I was like, and she said, that's the thing though.
It's tough.
Is because here's the thing. If you really do love your audience, if your set doesn't go well, it's not that you're mad at them, and it's harder to turn on somebody that you love. You get frustrated with them, but you don't turn your fucking back on them.
No. They're there. That's good enough.
And that's it. Exactly. Yeah. And it's just like, because now you talk about, you know, building an audience. Joey told me some amazing shit about that. Dude, I wish I had enough time to tell you just all the little things that he has told me.
I wish I did
keep
too.
In my back pocket and just be like, fuck, Joey, like,
that's the best.
It's funny because I'll hear people talk about him in reverence, like, this guy's one of the greatest of all time.
Who, Joey?
Yeah.
Oh, Joe Rogan says that all the time. He considers him the GOAT.
And to me, when I called him today.
Yeah.
I called him and I said, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" He's like, "Hey, dog, you called. I missed your call. What's up?" And I said, "Nothing. I saw you on Lights Out." And I said, "I just saw you, buddy." And it's weird because I was like, I haven't talked to you in a while. I was like, I wanted to say I was so happy to see you, and it was just, you did great, man. I love you. And he's
That's
like,
super cool.
And he's like, dog, I'm this close to getting you to fuck Lee. And we both just started laughing. And he goes, "By the time I'm done, Eric, I can get these people for the community." And he was telling me how close he was. He's like, "Dog, not only Lee, I'm softening him up for you." And he goes, "I think I can do this with others too."
This is hilarious.
And we were just laughing about that. And then we were talking a little bit about Lights Out. And he's like, thank you. And we talked a little bit about, just, little shit like that. And I always hang up because he's so fucking down to earth that I forget
who he is.
He's this super fucking human on stage.
Yeah.
And it's such an odd thing because I love that guy, just talking with him, because he's got so much love in his heart, dude. He's got a fucking great big heart. Mm-hmm. And he's been through so much, and he has mercy, just the empathy that guy can have for people is pretty stunning. Mm-hmm. And his viewpoint. But then he goes on stage.
It's different.
And he's just he's an animal.
People don't realize how violent stand-up comedy is.
And it's just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I remember telling him, like, when this was before, like, we were real friends, and I remember him leaving because I would host, and, he would leave, and I started wanting to follow him, and I would tell Joe, I was like, I want to go up after Joey. And he knew that.
That's
too.
what's up.
Yeah.
That's a smart move, though.
And
That's what you gotta do.
He respected that.
You
He
have
was
to do
like-
that, yeah.
And so what was funny was he was walking to his car one night, and I go, "Hey," every time you leave here, people walk out a little bit fucking taller and wanting to try a little bit more shit out. Mm-hmm. And dude, he looked at me and it was like one of the purest things I've ever heard him say. He's like, "What the fuck do you want from me? I'm making Marines here." And we both just started laughing. And it was one of those things where it was like, keep working hard. Don't fucking look at me.
Yeah.
'Cause we're all hustling here.
Yeah.
And that's how that guy's. And it was one of the things he told me, and it really did kind of resonate in terms of love your audience, was we were going to Bakersfield, and I was nervous because I had bombed in Irvine. I had bombed, and he told me, "You can't hold back." He said,
That's when you
you're
bomb
gay.
the worst, and you walk off stage and you know it, because you know it's you.
Yeah. And he said, you're gay, and because he told me, he goes, "I think you ought to hit him with the gay shit sooner." And I was like, "Are you fucking crazy? Like, I'm trying to win him over." And he's like, "No." He's like, I think you're the one that dictates how they're gonna feel. And he goes, "And if you hit him," and I remember him slapping his fucking fist like that. He says, "You gotta hit him. You gotta hit him right in the face with it." And he says, show him you're not backing down." And he goes, and then that's it. And so he took me to fucking Bakersfield, because I was like, oh shit, this is going to be rough. And I've told the story, so I'll skip that. But the one thing that he was trying to tell me too is, every time you go somewhere that's new, have this idea that you want to make at least one fan. Somebody that was really happy and connected with you. And he said, because then hopefully you come back in that area, and then they come back to see you. Next time they bring a friend. You got to see this guy. Why? He's great. He's great. He just, one night, I really connect with this guy. And it was true. And he's just like, everywhere you go, build a fan. Even if it's just one. He goes, you're trying to get one. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So now, like I said, when I would do that on your shows, I didn't go up there with the sense of like, okay, I'm going to do this joke, this joke, this joke. It was like, okay, this really worked and this really worked. So I'm just going to talk about what's happening in the room. And it's just like, I noticed you guys were laughing at this. What the fuck is wrong with you people? No, because you're good people.
Yeah.
I just don't. What the fuck happened to you? Like, no, I like it. Like,
it's cute.
It's creepy. Yeah. But anybody else that's not me, that's some fucking weird shit. And what I've noticed though was when you do that, when you talk to them, it's they connect with that.
Yeah.
And then you're in the room with the real fucking person. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hopefully I have enough jokes that if we're talking about how creepy somebody's being, like, oh, hey, I like creepy shit too.
True.
And then I'll tell a joke that I've got. And then, but that's what I love about them is it really is connecting with them on that pure level. And it's not, you should be funny and you should be able to talk to people like that. I like that. I don't like I don't like being that separate, but that was one thing it was love your audience because it's harder to turn on them. So that way, if I am disconnected with them, that means I'm not loving them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so
that's
weird.
That's on me because it's like, it's not their fault. But then again, that's why I say it's kind of controversial in a sense of not every comic approaches an audience like that. Some comics are like, no, fuck them. I'm here for me and I'm going to fucking attack them. And for me,
let's see how long that lasts, though.
And it works for different comics. Like I said, for me, I tried out a bunch of shit, and it's just like, okay, like you're like I said, I tried to arrive at your shows. I tried to arrive at my jokes different, and that's sometimes I was successful. Sometimes it would go haywire. Yeah. But regardless, it's like, fuck it. I'm in for this ride too. Cause it's like, we're both in this trying to feel something. And it's just like, I'll listen to shit back and I'm like, how the fuck did we get talking about, UTIs or whatever the fuck we're talking about? Cause it's like, it's just some weird shit. Like,
do you find that those are some of your better sets or worse sets where you kind of like, you want to do like X, Y, or Z bit, but you're not like rehearsing, oh, I got to do it like you're just like, you know what? We're just going to do that. And then you just kind of hop on stage and do them. Do you find that usually goes better or worse where you're not thinking about the exact wording? Is my question making sense?
No. It's tricky because it depends what I'm doing. If I'm at an open mic, I'm not as desperate to. I'm not as desperate to get you to like me. I feel like I am trying to do a joke, but believe it or not, I feel like at open mics, I got to win you over too.
Yeah.
Even if you're just a comic, because for me, if all I'm doing are jokes, then I could be doing them in front of these fucking posters I have up here.
Yeah.
One thing I always wondered about Carlin was if you didn't have an audience, would he still do the same act? With Richard Pryor, I mean, that guy was... And again, Paul Mooney was in the room with you. And, there will never, ever be a video that really shows what Paul could do in the room.
Yeah.
And dude, every time his show sold out. Every fucking time.
Yeah, I wish I could have seen him perform.
And it was disgusting because I was just like, this guy's fucking, he's the greatest of all time.
And it's just so iconic to see him too, and that sitting on the stool,
God,
the mic like that, and
dude, and from his opening line, he talked like, hey guys, Paul's coming over. Oh shit! Okay. And then right when I remember he'd sit in his chair, and the first thing he'd say is he goes, "It's over, white people." like it was a conversation that he had been having.
Yeah.
And he said, it was fun, but it's over. and people would already just start fucking dying laughing. But again, like, and he said,
Did people walk out of that at all?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
were people? Yeah.
I saw him walk somebody, and when they stood up and they walked out, it was really respectful. He looked at him and he pointed and he winked.
Hey.
They walked out to the right of the room and he looked at the left and he winked and he said, "I thought I'd lost my magic." And
That's the way you do it.
Died, dude. We died.
That's so funny.
And he said, "They got the fuck out of here, didn't they? They can't handle it." And he said, "It's, and that's real. That I like it. I like the ones that are. This one's sort of bright. We don't like this." And he goes, "Ooh, I like it when it's white."
This one's sort of bright.
But and yeah, dude, it was so fucking like, Jesus Christ, dude. But that was another case where Paul loved. You could see, like,
he liked making people mad.
Yeah,
it's so much fun.
And this was it. It wasn't necessarily mad. He liked testing people, and it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen because he would get off on it. Like, he'd be like, "Hey, you're white, and you're laughing. We're having fun, aren't we?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Do you say the?" And he would say the N-word. So, "Do you say it?" And he would get quiet.
White dude's freaking out.
And the guy would be like, "Yeah, I've said it." And Paul would be like, "See, that's because he's real." "No, he's real. That's why he's in this room. He's real." And he says, "Good. And he's like, "Good. I like it." And he goes, "I like a little salt on my cracker." And everybody would laugh, and he'd be like, "See, that's because that's the real shit right there." And he's all, "Good. Be proud and white. Be proud and white." And then he'd say, "Because we're coming for your sports." And he would fucking he would go though, and he would look at him and he'd smile. And after shows, he'd be taking pictures with those people.
Yeah.
And he would just be smiling, laugh. And I remember him saying, "Stay proud." And we would just laugh. We would laugh. And it was just like, fuck, he was always testing you. He would love to create tension, but then he would
pop it,
put you in. Yeah, he would put you laughing, and he loved it. And you could just see, like, he loved what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the notion of, okay, love your audience came from. And that's, like I said, with your shows, this is a really stupid fucking long answer. I'm sorry. That's where that came from. Is so much of it was love your audience, and Whitney taught me that. But then it was also Joey saying, don't shy away from it. If you are going to talk about it,
you have to.
You cannot broach it and then back off. Because when you backpedal, they'll fucking they smell blood and they don't like that shit.
Dude, I it's weird. I experienced that, like, in a set. Like, I was doing, like, a set, and it was 3 minutes. I was doing 3 minutes. It was a 5-minute set. For the first 3 minutes, it was, like, low energy, and I was doing my jokes, and I was about to backpedal, and I remember just something snapped, and I was like, "Nah, you know what? I'm just not being passionate enough about my shit. Strap in. I'm going for it." And then when I did that, everyone started laughing. I was like, "See? It's because I'm not, like, you have to..."
Yeah.
It's weird because you say the same jokes or material time and time again to work it out, and we focus so much on the words that the emotion leaves it. And it's like, no, the thing that made this funny at first was how much you cared about this stupid thing that you're trying to make funny. And, like,
Absolutely.
That has to be in there all the time.
If you're starting to do your jokes like you're reading a fucking laundry list, then that joke, and that's the thing,
it's
that
done.
joke no longer applies to you.
You have to toss it.
Exactly. And it's just like, okay. But if you've got an old bit that you haven't done in a while and you find that anger that fucking gotcha, that joke, it seems like it came out naturally and you're like, oh no, that was an old feeling I had. Oh, fuck, I can't believe I still felt that way. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow, I can't believe I fucking felt that way. But yeah, dude, it's one thing. I really appreciate you saying that, man. That was a sweetheart thing to say.
I got you, baby.
So, what's your social media, buddy? People want to follow you.
I have a Twitter account. My Twitter is @it's Bruno Mastro. So ITS Bruno Mastro. If any of you guys have any ideas on what could be a better handle, let me know, because my last name is Mastrodicasa, so I can't put that whole thing in there. Someone took @Mastro Bruno, and Bruno Mastro is taken. So I really don't know what to do. And when I tell people it's Bruno Mastro, sometimes it gets a little confusing because it sounds weird, I guess. So I don't know. I've been trying to figure out how to make my social media a little bit better.
You got any shows coming up?
No, I actually exhausted all my shows. I had my last show on Tuesday at the Haha. I did Leon's show, which if you guys are in LA, last Tuesday of the month at Haha, Leon Walker puts on a show with great comics. It's a lot of fun. It's always a great show. I love being a part of it. I had 3 shows this month, which were cool. So it was a great way to wrap up my time in LA. Got to be on shows with a bunch of my favorite comics, so it's been all love, which has been great.
Sweet, man. Well, dude, it's gonna be sad to see you go, Bruno.
Dude,
I'm not
so
shitting
sad.
you, dude. It's like when I found out you were leaving, and I was like, oh, okay, well, we got some time. Then I heard you were leaving earlier, and I was like, fuck, all right, that's it. It made me happy feet. Like that guy's got wandering. He's a traveling man.
It's been very odd, to be honest.
Yeah, what's that like?
And here's why it's been odd. As of like the past week, I've been noticing like I don't know, like it just seems like more of the friends I made in the community have been doing stand-up, have been coming into my life as of recently. I've been hanging out with those people more, and it's like I feel like I'm leaving this scene knowing like, man, it's like I'm gonna miss these people. Like, I made like really awesome friends, and like
yeah, dude, you are loved and respected.
No, man. And I love all of you guys, and it was like it's just been cool. Like not now that I'm leaving, but like. Because this would have happened, I think, if I was staying, but at this weird point where I am leaving, it is one of those things where, I don't know if we want to say universe, God, that corny-ass shit, but it's like, so people have been kind of coming out of the woodwork into my life randomly to kind of like show me, like, nah, dude, it's been all love here, this has been good, and it's like, it makes me feel good knowing, like, I've made some cool friends here, and we all have a good time with each other and stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, I loved you as a host. I adored you as a comic, too, because it was just like... Man. Seeing you fucking explode like that, like fuck yeah, this guy's not fucking around. Like he's not backing down. So to see you tackle in New York, man, it's. I'll tell you, I'm cheering for you, man.
Thanks, brother.
I'm
I
on
appreciate
Team
it.
Bruno, and I'm fucking wearing the shirt and all that.
That's what's
good
up.
stuff,
You'll be the
dude.
first to get the merch, baby.
But I wish you the best of luck, man. And I know Well, I don't know. I don't know how you'll do out there. What the fuck? What the fuck
no one
do I
knows.
know?
Yeah,
but
we're hoping for the best, both of us, I think.
No, buddy. But you are loved in this community, man, and I'm gonna miss you.
No, thanks, dude. No, I'm gonna miss you too, bro.
So, now it's time to touch dicks. I don't know if you can hear this. It's hang on a second.
Could you imagine if that's what our dick sounded like touching each other? That's fucking crazy.
Would fucking be amazing. I'll miss you, buddy. Take
I'm
care
gonna
of
miss you,
yourself,
bro.
all right?
No, thanks for having me on. This has been a blast.
Alrighty, so that was Bruno Mastrodicasa. Again, it's Bruno Mastro on Instagram. ITS BRUNO MASTRO. It's Bruno Mastro. Give him a follow. Good luck in New York, man. You're gonna kick ass, and I can't wait. Isn't he just great? I love the dude's hustle. He cares a lot, and listen to how many comics he's familiar with. He loves it. And I don't know. I respect that so much about the guy. I do, man. I wish him the best of luck in New York, and fuck yeah. I hope he kicks some ass out there. That said, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time.